Hey again, it's CC Strata Kuzmanovic, and welcome to the very next edition of Mindset Mondays.
Most of us have big dreams and aspirations. We often hear the saying that if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. What if I told you that most people have it all wrong when it comes to achieving their dreams? That the last thing in the world you need is to be scared in any way of your own future? And what if I told you that you can learn exactly how to get everything you want and achieve everything you desire? I'm CC Strata Kuzmanovic of Splendidly Intrepid, and right here on Mindset Mondays, you will receive the necessary guidance and you will learn the exact techniques and steps towards achieving all of your goals, dreams, and desires. The name says it all, Splendidly Intrepid, the fearless pursuit of the life of splendor that you deserve. Welcome to the rest of your life.
Hey again, and thank you so much for joining me once more, and welcome to those of you who are watching this on the replay. It's CC Strata here for your next edition of Splendidly Intrepid's Mindset Mondays, and I am so excited today to talk to you about a topic that is so near and dear to me, mostly because, number one, as you guys likely know by now, emotions are something that are a huge part of me. I'm always trying to be and making sure that I am in the highest vibration possible. Why? Because I understand the power of being in a high state of being, in a preferred state of being. None of you would argue with me that a preferred state of being is one of happiness and joy and laughter and love. Now, can we always stay in that state of being? No. But if you've been listening to the other Splendidly Intrepid Mindset Monday broadcasts or the replays, you know that I talk about something called metacognition, which means that we have the ability as human beings, we have the ability to observe our own thoughts. So as such, when we are present in our lives and when we are present and always aware of ourselves, our surroundings, all of that, we are always capable and able to be aware of our own emotions and how we are, and our own feelings, if we are uncomfortable, if we're frustrated. And when we are present and we know that we're frustrated, because we always know if we're frustrated, but we don't always know it presently. We learn to live with it, and it becomes a back burner issue that we always end up just living with. And that is certainly not a preferred state of being, but because you are a human, and I'm holding you accountable right now, I'm calling you out. If you just learn to live with it and roll with the punches, how has that been working for you, living in a way that you know you're frustrated and you know you're angry, or you know you got some issues, and you just keep living that way? You have the power to change, okay? Human beings as a species, we are the only species on the planet that with just a singular thought, in a second's worth of time, we can be very angry just by remembering something or having a thought. We can literally make ourselves angry. By the same token, we can literally make ourselves happy. So because you are able to observe your own thoughts, and if you are interested in your own well-being, which I know you are, you're watching this for goodness sakes. I know you are. If you're interested in any of that, then you have the capacity and capability to change your thought pattern, change your emotions, okay? So you have that responsibility to yourself, and you should be nice to yourself. You should give yourselves good endorphins, because emotion comes from motion too, right? So that's why exercise is such a good thing, because you get these endorphins going and it changes your entire mood. Now, if you put yourself in the right state, you will do the right thing 100% of the time. You will do the right thing. So, also understand something. Emotion anchors memory. Okay. The bigger the emotion, the more deeply ingrained that memory gets put into into your thought reserves. Okay. Um, so this happens with good stuff and with bad stuff. Okay. You remember really, really bad things that happened to you, really, really upsetting things that happened to you, really, really traumatic things that happened to you because such a surge of emotion was attached to that action, to that event. Okay. By the same token, you also remember very beautiful, pleasant things you can recall from your childhood or as an adult, life events that really just shot through your system and just made you feel so good. You remember them clearly. You remember exactly where you are. Let's just talk about how you remember, if you're in America especially, you remember exactly where you were when JFK was shot, if you're from that generation, or where you were, who you were with, what you were doing when 9/11 happened back in 2001. You know exactly where you are because such emotion was attached to that. Okay? By the same token, you remember exactly what you were wearing and who you were with and the feelings and everything around life events that you worked really hard for. The day you found out you passed the bar exam for you lawyers, you knew exactly where you were, what you were doing. For men, women, we gave birth, but for the men who were the fathers of the children, you remember exactly where you were when you got the call. It's time. It's go time. This baby's coming. You remember everything. Why? Because of heightened emotion. So emotion anchors memory. So why do we need to be in a high state? Because you don't want to be in a low state of vibration, a very sad state. You want to be in a high state always, right? So if you're studying, for example, or if you are going to undertake any endeavor, any event, if you're aligned and if you are in a very heightened state of emotion, everything will go well. And you will remember you will remember things that will actually, if, like, let's say you're giving a presentation, you're in a high state of being, right? Preferred state of being, you're giving a presentation, you will be able to let thoughts and anecdotal thoughts and stories and other material come in to really reinforce whatever you're doing because you're letting that good stuff flow. Okay. So emotions are very important. They literally are your secret weapon to success in life because you'll know where you are and your emotions will tell you where you are in juxtaposition or in relation to where you want to be. Always. Write this down, please. Your emotions will always tell you where you are, okay, in relation to where you want to be. Always. Start paying attention. Start paying attention to your emotions. Now, there's something called an emotional relief scale, okay? So people talk about how, don't be mad. Don't be mad. Just, get over it or whatever, right? People don't want you to be mad. It makes them feel uncomfortable. You know what? Screw that. You want to know why I say that? Because if somebody is at the lowest possible emotional scale, they are depressed, maybe even suicidal, okay? The worst of the worst possible feelings ever, okay? If they're that low, guess what? I would rather them be angry. Anger relieves depression. How about that? You wouldn't argue with that one bit, right? That is a relief. Anger is a relief. So when people are angry around me, I actually don't try to shy away from them necessarily because you know what? I'd rather them be angry than depressed or suicidal, you see? Then, beyond anger, frustration actually relieves anger. You know what? Actually, blame, believe it or not, blame relieves anger. Okay, you're angry, then you blame, you feel relief. That's actually relief. Okay, so when you start learning how to be less judgmental, okay, and you start to look at people not as obstacles, but as people that are part of your movie, part of your human experience. Because remember, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience, all of us, every single one of us. So you can look at it as them versus us, or you can understand and accept that we're all part of each other's movies. And you look beyond just the flesh that they are, and you take them for the greater part that makes them, which is non-physical, which is his entire being, his entire energy that's way bigger than the body that you're seeing in front of you. And then that perspective change actually changes everything. Okay, so that's where you start being less judgmental, and you start looking at people and understanding that there's a motivation, an emotional motivation behind everything that they're doing. Okay, and the best that you can do is align yourself as best possible in order to influence their alignment. Help them in order to not help them. That's not the word I'm looking for. In order to influence. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Influence them into their own alignment. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again, you have no right to have any intentions for another person. You have no right to want something for someone else. You have no right. You don't have that right. Everyone's on their own journey. Stay in your own lane. Don't go and try to have thoughts for people. Oh, I wish they were more like this, or my intention for you is to do that. No, what you can do, the only thing and the best possible service that any individual can give another person is to be so aligned that energetically you influence everyone else's alignment around you. Okay, now emotion is changed by motion. Okay, I'll tell you in a second who I got that from over the weekend. But emotion is changed by motion. So if you're having too much of a hard time getting to the point where you are raising your own vibration through your own thoughts and so forth, because you're so in it, you're so in whatever that rut is, okay, there's a really great way to change your state. Because a radical change in physiology. Yay! Woo! Yeah! I'm already changing my physiology. Amy Cuddy that's an excellent TED Talk for you guys to watch. Amy Cuddy talked about how people that never had any sight. They never they were born blind. They never had any sight. When they made some kind of achievement or achieved something, had a major breakthrough, whatever. Okay, people that never saw ever, never had sight in their lives, they instinctively put their arms up in the air. But they never saw that. They never saw that behavior anywhere else. But they did it. As human beings, we put our hands up in the air. We start partying. We go to the club. Whoop, whoop, right? All that. It's all because of a physiological magic that happens because emotion is brought about by motion too. Not just energetically, but like this. So some of you ex-students of mine from the university who are watching, remember those many, many different times that I was preparing you for the real world, and I would say to you, hey, when you go for your interviews, what I want you to do is I want you to go into the bathroom and lock yourself in the bathroom of the facility, and for 2 minutes, hold your arms up in the air, look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the man or I'm the woman, and say that to yourself for 2 minutes. Amy Cuddy found, and she shared this in her TED Talk, that when people did that and went into an interview, they exuded this sense of this higher level of confidence. They walked in, they had perceived swagger. All the interviewers all said the same thing about the test subjects that came in, and after they had done that, their answers seemed to be bolder and seemed to be more succinct and well put together, and the way that they were perceived was completely different than the other group, the control group that did not do the exercise. Okay, so physiology is changed by motion. You have a physiological change. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you who I shared some time with, me and the 3,500 other people over the weekend. I was with Tony Robbins. Yes. What's today? Sunday. I was with Tony Robbins in one of his seminars on Saturday. Okay. And it was a workout because that man makes you get up and move and clap, and the energy in the room literally raises. You can feel it. It's palpable. Okay. So he nailed it. He nailed exactly what I've been teaching you on a massive scale. Okay. So what he does is he brings all these emotions, all these feel good endorphins, so then that when he delivers the content, it sticks. It sticks. So you have these transformational things, right? And you learn that radical change in physiology, radical change in your physical body changes your physiology. In other words, your state. And what you do is, once you want to change your state completely, that's 2 steps. Radical change in physiology, the rah-rah, right? This is according to Tony Robbins. And then you change your focus. You change your focus. He talks about exactly the things that I have been talking to you guys about for what? For a month now. For a month now, you've got three decisions, and the first of them is, what is your focus? What is your focus? Because based on your focus, that's what are you going to look at the obstacles, or are you going to look at the clear path? Because if you look at the obstacles, you're going to get more of the same. You're going to get more and more obstacles. You're not going to see the clear path for what the clear path is. He put it together in a way. He said that every person on earth has 3 decisions to make. He says, what are you going to focus on? And I'm reading right from my notebook. What are you going to focus on? What does it mean? And what are you going to do? What are you going to focus on? What does it mean? And what are you going to do? Remember, if you focus on the obstacle, okay, what does that mean? It means that you are in an obstacled mindset, state of mind. Okay, that's no good. Okay, but if you get your mind right, you do the right thing. So then you start instead, on purpose, flow your focus to, how can I? Where is the path of least resistance? Where do I want to go? Not where I don't want to go. You focus on what you want. You don't focus on what you don't want. You see that? You see that? That was like a double negative, but you guys get the point, right? He says that meaning equals emotion equals life. So what does it mean? So what are you going to focus on? Okay, I'm going to focus on the clear path. That's my choice, not the obstacle, the clear path. Now why? What is it meaning? Because meaning equals emotion equals life. Your life ends up being meaning exactly how you feel. Your life ends up meaning exactly what you want, what you're focusing on, where you want to go, and nurturing that instead of nurturing where you don't want to go. See? So what meaning does your life have? And then he says that the third decision is, what are you going to do about it? Okay, what are you going to do about it? Once you have the first 2, what are you going to do about it? The third decision. Okay, so remember that a belief is a poor substitute for experience, because experience solidifies it. Experience makes it real. Okay, you know that people make $1 million. You've heard about it. You read about it. But until you see, and you're talking to a millionaire and you're watching them work, now that knowledge is completely different. It takes on a completely different tone. Okay, so belief is a poor substitute for experience. So what do you do once you change your state of mind and you want to continue with your once you change your state of mind, you have hit a threshold. Step 1, But there's a second step now. Because once you hit that threshold and you have this radical change and you have your aha moment and you have your breakthrough, okay? Now what? Well, you have to change your environment. You have to change your environment and you have to put yourself on purpose into situations where you will perpetuate these feelings. Okay. So like, you know, the logical question for me was, okay, well, who trains? Tony Robbins is all about mindset. Tony Robbins is all about he teaches this about keeping up your vibration, your energy, and continuing education almost, but for yourself, continuing self-development. So who the heck trains him? Well, he does. He books out his own training with other people, with other institutions, with other establishments. He books it out at least, I think he said 3 times. I might be misquoting him, but at least 3 times a year, maybe more. I'm sure more, but at least 3 times a year. And you have to do that. You have to put yourself into these situations if you want to be successful, if you want to scale up your success in anything that you're doing. So constantly look for these opportunities. As you all know, I go to them. I share my experiences with you. I come back. My saw is sharpened even further, and I share with all of you a lot of the stuff that I learned. A lot of it. I share it with you. So then it's incumbent upon you to do the same things for you, for the things that give you passion and that spark you up. Okay? Because if you want that change to last, you have to make sure that you put yourself into those environments. So that's it for today. I gotta go. I've got to go pick up my little one from preschool, but I hope that you got a lot of value from this. If you did, share this broadcast, share this stream, share this recording with anybody in your life who you think will benefit from it, because these are golden nuggets. I paid a lot of money to learn this stuff, but here, what good is learning all this stuff if you can't actually articulate it, number one. Okay, so doing these broadcasts actually helped me to really solidify them in my brain, in my own mind. And number two, it helps me to fulfill my mission in life, and actually my assignment in life. I've taken this as my assignment, which is to help as many people, or influence as many people as possible, come into their own alignment and tap into their own power. I love you all. I'll see you next Monday, 10 o'clock, Mindset Mondays, right here on Splendidly Intrepid. CC Strada Kuzmanovic saying goodbye to you, telling you I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.